Hello guys, welcome back. In this video tutorial we will learn the multi-step and design form. We will see how we can display the steps and how we can display the form in each step, and also we will see how we can make the steps as disabled until the previous step form is finished. So once user enter the values in the previous form, then the next step will be enabled and the other step will be still disabled. And if user has entered the values in all of these forms, then all of the steps will be enabled and user can go between each step to alter the values if needed, right? So let's get started. I have an empty reactjs project that is using and design, and right now it's showing nothing. So let's go ahead and import the steps and form component from and design and start using it. So it will be steps and then the form, and let's display the steps at the top and then on the bottom we display the form. So I have a separate video on the steps as well as the form. I will add their link in the I button as well as in the description below, so you can take a look. Let's first display the steps. So it will be steps, and under the steps we can show a single step with a title. Maybe we can say the login details, and then the icon can be login outlined. That's again from the and design icons. I have a separate video on how to use the and design icons. I will add its link in the I button as well as in the description below as well. Okay, so let's save it. Here you go, the step has been added. Let's copy this one and add two more steps. One we can call the profile details, then we can call finish, and here we can call the profile outline, and then on the finish we can say the check circle outlined. Here you go, the login, the profile, and the finish, right? Let's add a style here to add some padding. So maybe we can say the padding, that is let's add a padding on the bottom as well so that the form is displayed a little below. So we can say it's 32 pixel and 16 pixel. So 32 pixels on the top and bottom, and then 16 pixel on the right and the left side. Okay, let's save it. Okay, here you go. So now you can select any of these. Let's add a on change function here, and we can say on change, and let's declare a state variable to save the current selected step. So we can say use state, and we can say current and set current. By default it's 0, and it is from the React. Okay, and in the steps we can say on change set current, and we can set the current is equal to the current we have in the state, right? If we save it, and now you can change it, right? You can go to the finish, profile, and login, right? So now let's declare the forms for each of these steps. So first declare the form for the login form. So we can say function login form, and here we can return the form, and inside that we can say form dot item, and inside that we can say input again from the end design. Okay, so the first form item we can label it, we can say email, and then we can say name is equal to email address, and let's copy this one and create another form item. We can say password, and here we can say password, and the name is also password, right? Let's add a rule here. We can say that these are the required fields. So I have a separate video on how to add the form validation rules. I will add its link in the description below as well, so that you can take a look. And here we can say it's required, and also its type should be an email, and if it's not the case we can say the message is please enter a valid email address, right? So let's copy this one, rules, and apply in the password as well, and make this as also the required. So it's a required true. I have removed the type email, and then we can say please enter your password. Okay, and at the end we can display the button. We can say maybe continue. So when you user will be pressing on this continue button, we will validate the form, and if it is well, then we will automatically move to the next step, right? So here we can say it's type to be primary, and it's HTML type to be submit. Okay, so let's add this form under the steps. The login form, here you go, we have created the form, email, password, and then continue. If you continue, you can say please enter valid email address, and if I enter the email like this way, it is fine, and I can enter the password. Now if I click on the continue, let's move to the next step. So we can say we can add a prop here. We can say on finish, call our some method. So we can declare a method here. We can say on finish login form, and give us all the values user has entered here, and here we can save those values inside our state. So we can say use state login details, and by default it's null, right? And here we can say set login details to be the values user has entered, right? And finish, we can say on finish login form, and here we can pass the on finish, and from the form we can say on finish is equal to on finish, that is passed in the props. Okay, save it, right? And also when it is finished, we can say the set grant to be the 1. So by default it's on the 0 we have set here, and as soon as this form is finished, it is valid, then we will be moving to the step 1 automatically. Now if I save it, refresh, so I enter the email and password, then continue, it is moved to the profile. But right now it's always showing the login form. So let's create the profile form as well. So maybe we can copy this one and paste it here. We can say this is the profile form, and on finish, then we maybe on the profile we can say the first name, and maybe the rule is only it is required to enter your first name, right, and input, and this is the last name, and we can say last name, and required true, please enter your last name, and it is not the password, it is only the input, and the button is primary again, right? And here we can create maybe an array of forms. We can say const forms is equal to an array of forms, and we can copy this one and place that inside here. So the first form is the login form, the second form could be the profile form, and on finish login form, and here we can say copy, and on finish profile form, and also we can declare a state for the profile details. So we can say profile details, and by default it's null, and here we can say set profile details to the values user has entered, and on that we will be moving to the step number 2, right? And here on finish, right? And also let's declare the finish form as well. So we can say function finish form, or maybe it is only the finish, no form here, and here we can just return maybe the h1. We can say you are all set, and then we can say button, we can say finish, and its type is maybe primary, right? Save it, and while we are declaring the forms here, yep, okay, here we can say the finish form finish, right? Okay, and here we can say we will be getting the forms and displaying the form of the current. So we will from the forms we will be displaying the form based on the value we have in the current step, right? So if it is current is 0, then it will be displaying the login form. If it is current is 1, then it will displaying the profile form, and if it is current is 2, then it will display the finish, right? So now if I save it, refresh, so by default on the login, if I click on the profile, it is on the profile form, and finish, you are all set, finish, right? And if I continue here, it says enter the first name and last name, continue, you are all set, right? And you can go to any of these, and here you see if I move back to these forms, so all of my values are reset, so it's not persisting. We can persist those values as well, so that is using the initial values. We can say initial values, and we can pass these initial values to the form. Okay, and also for this one, initial values equal to initial values, and here we can pass the initial values while we are declaring these forms in the JSX. So we can say initial values are the login details, whatever we got when user press the continue, we save that in the login details, we will passing back in the initial values, and here also we can pass the initial values as the profile details, right? So now if I save it, refresh, and if I pass here amir@gmail.com and password, then continue, and if I go back, it is persisted, right? In the profile we can say Amir code with continue back, you get all of these values as persisted, right? But right now if you refresh, and you see, although I have not finished these values, I cannot continue, but I can directly go to the profile from this button. If we want to disable some of the steps based on the form, whether it's filled or not, so we can do that as well. So let's declare a function. We can say const is step disabled, and we will be giving it the step number, and we can say if the step number is equal to 0, it's not disabled, and if maybe say if the step number is equal to 1, then it should be disabled if the login details is equal to null, right? we can return that directly. And if the login detail is null, then it is disabled, otherwise it will not be disabled. And similarly for the step number 2, we can say if the login details is null or the profile details is null. So the finish will be only enabled if both of these forms are finished, right? So let's copy this one, and for each of the steps we can say disabled is disabled for the step number 0, and copy this one and paste it on all of these steps. We can say step 1 and step 2. Save it, refresh. So now profile step is disabled, finish is also disabled. So now if I pass these values and then continue, the profile is enabled. Go back, I can go now to the profile as well, right? And I cannot still go to the finish until I provide the first name and the last name. We can say the first name, last name is provided, then I can go to the finish. Now I can go to the any of the steps because I have provided all of the information for the login form and the profile form, and then we can go to the finish, right? So this is the way you can create a multi-step form and make these form dependent on each other. So that's it on exploring the multi-step form using reactjs and design. But still, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And if you have learned something in this video, please hit like, subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Thank you.